It's like, oh, you want to chat? Please, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing.
All right. So, in the meantime, while waiting for everyone, let's just start. So, just to make things easier, just for connectivity purposes, just keep yourselves on mute, and then each person will, like, I'll call you out. Like now, for example, we'll just go one by one to introduce yourselves. So, Andy, just introduce yourself quickly, like a couple of minutes. Say who you are, say what you do, and
cool. Yeah. So my name's Andy. Says on my name tag. I'm a guitarist and singer, and the last since like 2013, 12 maybe, I was performing in a duo called Hey Moon Shaker, where I play guitar and sing, and then my friend's a beatboxer, and we performed like rock and roll music with kind of rock and roll music. It's quite I guess you kind of got to see it to understand it, but it fits very well together, and it's quite an interesting dynamic to perform with. The last 3 years, I've been developing a solo project, which was just about to take off this summer, but then everything happened, so it's kind of it's changed the thing, as it has for everybody. And what else? And my favorite color is blue.
Cool. All right. Let's go. Renoir, go for it. Just we're doing quick intros, just so you know.
Okay.
Just join.
Hello, everyone. This is my first Zoom meeting, by the way.
Wow.
It feels, yeah, I haven't been doing this at all. I've been so like, I've done a few lives during this whole quarantine, but I haven't been into technology and all this. I've been in the kitchen, in the garden most of the time. Anyways, my name is Ghenwa Nimnom. I'm a qanun player. I don't know if you're all familiar with the instrument. It's like an oriental harp. I've been doing music since, I don't know, 15, 20 years, but recently, about 2 years ago, I started doing a fusion between the oriental and the electronic. Perla knows more about this. We've done a project together last year with Wujud, and yeah, that's it. I've been doing a lot of gigs, events, and shows, mainly in the Middle East. I haven't done anything in Europe yet. That's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Z, go.
Hey guys, my name is Z Karkabi. I'm a music producer. I released my EP 3 years ago. It's rock and just a bit of electronic. I also have another project called Strip Beirut. We do electronic music, a live set. We're finishing our live set, preparing it to be played live, not just recording it here. I've been in the business for 20 years. That's it. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, cool.
Nala.
All right, go Dana. Let's just keep going so that we can flow to the more like important points that you guys brought up in your messages. By the way, thanks for that. So, Dana, your go. Let's.
Hi everyone, I'm Dana Fakouri. So I'm in Valencia, Spain at the moment. I started as a guitarist. Right now I'm a music producer and an engineer and an artist. I do chill electronic music. And at the same time, I help at Berkeley College of Music here in Spain with the master's program for music production, technology, and innovation. I go by the artist name of Early Bird. Yep.
Cool. Ramli?
Hi, my name is Eli. My last name is Ramli, so I go by Ramli. That's my stage name, I guess. I have 3 projects. One is my EP as myself, and then I have 2 other projects with a band called Free Air and another one called Satellite Groove. The style is indie in general, mostly indie folk, indie rock, but Satellite Groove is more on the electropop spectrum.
Cool, thanks for that. I just want to add, he's also a doctor. That's just a side note, like casually on the side. Karina, here you go.
Hi everyone. So my name is Karina Baclayan. My artist name is Karina Lyrique. And I'm a singer-songwriter, music composer, and recently arranger. I started music when I was 6 years old. I started learning the piano in the conservatoire, but I picked up the guitar and I started singing in 2013 and composing songs way before that. So it's been a bittersweet journey. So I did a crowdfunding campaign last year, and we recorded my debut album in September, and we still didn't finish the mixing and the mastering, so I'm stuck. I was supposed to release it like by now. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Tony? Wait, he's on mute. Okay, cool.
Hello, my name is Antoine Dao. I run by Code Zero, and which is my solo project. I'm a guitar player since 16 years old. Now I'm 31. Yay. And also I'm part of a band called Ovid, where I play the guitar, and we're a three-piece band, bassist and a drummer. And I'm also part of a project called where I play guitar with an artist called Tamara Kaddoumi. We're recording her new songs, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Carlitos.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Carlos. I call myself Charles because I'm in England. I'm from Spain, but I'm living in Liverpool. And I came when I was 21. So I decided to start a career as a musician. And here I am. I play guitar, harmonica, and sing, or at least I try. And yeah, here I am trying my best to the music scene. Thank you very much, and I hope we have some.
Thanks for that. Delaney?
Hi, everybody. Delaney, my name. I'm primarily a violinist. I grew up in Egypt and half Lebanese, half Swiss, and then I lived in Greece for a while and moved to New York to do my master's in music tech. So since then I've just been freelancing. So I mostly play. I'm classically trained, but I play things from a bunch of different genres. I have a quartet that is dedicated to Brazilian music. So we arrange popular Brazilian music. We play it on string quartet. And I recently also got more into songwriting when I started singing about a year and a half ago. And yeah, other than that, I also teach, and I get into production here and there. And that's most of my performing things that I can think about. A lot of fusion things. And right now I'm in Spain. I normally live in New York, but I came to check out the scene in Madrid, and because my boyfriend's here, and I wanted to see what work was like. And then I kind of just got stuck here because of Corona. So I'm not too upset about it, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Beatrice?
Hi guys, can you hear me? So hi, my name is Beatrice Mogheiber. My singer-songwriter name is Bea M. I haven't been a singer-songwriter for a long time. I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now. My major is in cinema and production, so I work in movies and TV sets. And I had a passion for music since I was a kid. And I'm trying to learn the piano and some solfège now to be able to compose and write more for myself. And that's it. I'm working on my EP also. Hopefully that will be coming out in autumn. And the title is AM Fadye, so Empty Days. Nice to meet you all.
Perla?
Hi, Perla Juma Alouli, originally Lebanese, currently stuck in Greece, happily as well. I never chose to get into music, but I think that ever since I was a child, I grew up hearing my grandmother sing for Semaan and Kulthum, and it was always so inspiring. And I grew up writing a lot of poetry, Nathar, Arabic, always about the country, about religion, about love, about conflicts, about everything. And I grew up and I ended up doing interior architecture. Then I did cinematography, and I specialized in the psychoanalysis of the image, basically. And I've done a short film, German short film that's been around 23 festival, winner of Yale Student Festival, and it was satirical, and it also plays with the system. And then after that, I've worked as a casting director for 2 years, working on advertising, which made me an accomplice with Bong Biblos and Mokhawdi with all the crisis that we're going in today. And I stopped doing that after working for years as a casting director, and I got my gear and I started working as a director DP, mostly for artists pro bono, to empower the art scene in Lebanon and to actually empower my portfolio as well. And it worked at a certain point until I went for a year in the desert, met Mr. Fathi Salimi in a while, and Hazim Shaheen, and a lot of Egyptian amazing musicians, and we jammed with no business orientation whatsoever, and it opened up so much in me. And I went back to Beirut, and at that point in time, I shot a music video for Kar Fernani. So he came with his gear and he just put a beat, and I started singing, and I created an album while jamming in 2 days while sleeping on the freaking roof. And I've been working on that album for the past 2 years within the project called Wujud Beirut. And Ghinwa, she recorded the Anoon with us, but this project went with me Beirut, Egypt, Beirut. I booked Station Beirut last year, and we were gonna launch it. And then I stopped everything immediately. And I'm like, this needs more work. I need to grow first. I need to understand what is the label what is the presentation that's coming out of me. And when the revolution started, I had some funding for the project to finalize it. And I put them all on the revolution, and everything flew away. And I stopped the whole project, and I felt very disconnected to my producer at that point, because I've lived something that. So I stopped everything. I detached myself completely from the whole project. I kept Wujud as a platform that might be created in 10 years within a performance and an art installation and poetry and everything. But I didn't feel like I want to launch an album. So I stopped. And now I'm doing a track with a Greek producer here while being here. I met him randomly. He's the only thing that's alive on the island, but it's following me everywhere I go, I guess. And I created now recently Middle East Uprising. It's an Instagram account basically where I put the music, all the uprising Arabic music today that makes me feel like we're awakening, and put like a visual tribute to them. So I'm trying on many facets while becoming. That's it.
Cool, thank you. Alan? We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. Try. No, still nothing.
He's on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute at the moment.
Anthony, I think you can unmute him because you're the admin.
I'm trying to, but 1 second.
It went off and on.
Yeah, it's still not. I'm not able to do it. Alan, I'm gonna try and do an intro for you. Let me know if I'm correct in saying this. Alan is a multi-instrumentalist based in Beirut. He's performed in many bands before. He actually was a drummer at some point with I forgot the name of the band you were a drummer with at the time. He's shifted in many genres. I've seen him play in reggae bands, in rock bands, in electronic bands. His solo project is called Alan Abbey, that he launched 3 or 4 years ago, I think. I'm not sure. Alan, can you hear me? Can you hear? Yeah. Was it 3 years ago or 4 years ago? 4 years ago. Yeah, and he released a single last year that got quite a lot of traction here in Beirut. And am I missing anything or not? He's also a producer, by the way, a lot of stuff as well. So So yeah, I don't know who disappeared, but someone disappeared. Okay, let's just, so first of all, thank you guys thank you guys all for being a part of this. First of all, thank you for participating in the Beirut Jam Sessions Instagram lives. That was really cool. Yesterday was the last one. You guys have all raised different issues that you find in the music industry, and I've narrowed them down to the 4 things that you've mentioned, which are relevant to Lebanon. So this is not only Lebanon as a whole, this is all over the world. It's the same, we're facing the same issues. So the first one is how to promote yourself. That's something that I've seen from everyone mentioning it. The second one is how to make income, so how to make some money off this thing. The third one is the future of live music. Like, everyone is worried about this. And the fourth one is everything related to structure and personal growth, and putting everything together as a circle. Now, what I would like, if you guys don't mind, is I'm just gonna say a few words about what I'm gonna focus right now just on promotion. Okay, only on promotion. Once I'm done, then I would like to you guys just unmute yourselves and say whatever you think is right or wrong, and feel free to stop me in your tracks. Again, I read all your stuff that you guys sent, and they all circled around the same issues, as I said. So promotion, income, future of concerts, and everything that's structure and personal growth. When it comes to promotion, obviously, the first thing I would say is everything related to social media. It goes without saying, you have to be present on social media. Now, when I say present, I mean Facebook, of course, Instagram, of course, YouTube, of course, even the dumbest one, TikTok, of course, because when people think of TikTok, we think of something, people are dancing and doing their dumb stuff. And I would just like to remind everyone that, Instagram started as a photography thing. Facebook started as a university thing. TikTok has started as a dancey thing. It's gonna evolve. And the difference between that and all the others is that this is the only platform today that exists in the world that has over 1 billion users, and that still doesn't charge the people for advertising, meaning everything that's possibly going to go viral can go viral off TikTok. So when some artists say, how can I get more reach or whatever? I mean, you can use that platform, especially musicians, because you guys, you have the talent. So if you're playing a certain instrument or something, it can definitely catch on quick. So one thing is being present on all social media platforms. And when I say present, I mean not just you exist on social media platform. I mean you post a bloody lot. And I mean a lot. This is one of the things I advise highly, because there's something I wrote a thing on LinkedIn a few days ago. And one of the things that I actually found out is that we see on average 10,000 different pieces of content a day. 10,000. So our eyeballs are seeing 10,000 different things. If we're seeing 10,000 different things, some of them are sponsored, some of them are not sponsored, some of them are this or that. The only way it will stand out is if it's present and very present. And it's not, you have a choice. Either you can post a lot, so post many times in a day, that's one option, or you can pay, which is the option that nobody wants to do. No one wants to go and pay $5 and $10 and $20. By the end of the month, you've paid $2,000 on promotion. So, and when I say what you're gonna post, it's with the amount of things that you guys can do. First of all, in all of you, I know all of you differently to some extent, some more than others. Some of you I've just met, but you all have an incredible story and you all have incredible talent. So even if it's 15 seconds of that talent being shown at 9 a.m., then at 3 p.m., then at 6 p.m., I know for some of you it feels overwhelming. But the thing is, it's not supposed to be, because it's supposed to be fast content. You're grabbing 1 second of attention of people. People, when you're on Instagram, think of it. You're looking and you're scrolling and it's taking you 1 second, sometimes 30 seconds. You look at a video or whatever, but it's all fast content. So even in your creation of that content, you have to just think like, you know what, I'm putting this, I'm playing, and that's it. So it shouldn't be taking that much time, even though it does feel like it's gonna take time, but it shouldn't. That's one. Two big piece of advice for anything that's, so these are the 4 platforms I advise, of course. Another thing I advise strongly, because I've seen this from all artists around the world, is never cross promote. Meaning, if you look at all 4, so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, right? Those are 4 big ones. Each one, when you look at it, each one gives you the same thing. They're giving you video. You have video on all of them. You have photos on all of them. You have comments on all of them. You have followers on all of them. So they're offering, technically, they're offering the same thing. If they're offering the same thing, then their system is made for you not to promote the other platform. Like, why would Facebook allow you to get visibility if you post a YouTube video? Facebook has its own video channel, so why would it do that? Instagram has its own Instagram channel. So the idea is you have to be present everywhere, and it has to be, uploaded onto each one. So that's one thing. I'm telling you, I'm going into the promotion. I'm going just into the basics of when you're doing this, it has to feel like you're doing that naturally. I've seen with Ramli, for example. Ramli, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this quarantine period, you've gotten so much more interaction and traction than ever before because you've been posting a lot more than ever before, right?
I have, and I second what you said, even TikTok. The reason I've grown, and just as an example, I grew from 900 followers on Instagram to 10,000. It's a little less than 10,000 right now, but that's a 10 times growth just over quarantine. I think there's a lot of factors, people are watching more and so on, but I've definitely made it a systematic process. So I've made sure that I post at least 2-3 times a week, and then put stories more than 1 time a day if I can. And then it's a lot of things. I've used promotion like through different accounts. I've tried promotion, like I'm trying different things. So I don't know what's working more than the other right now, but I've done these things. And I think you're totally right with what you're saying. You have to be active.
You're right, because as he said, so he went from 900 followers to near to 10,000 in the space of 2 months. And it's because there's so much incredible amount of content you're putting out there. So you're just all the time, I always see you're either live, you're either putting a cover, you're either live with someone on their channel, you're either doing a, like Q&A sort of thing. Like, it's always just consistent. Another person, Tony, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Tony, for example, I always see him live on Instagram. And you have to remember, when you're looking at something, I'm going basic. I'm just going basic so you realize the impact of this thing. Tony goes live on Instagram, for example, very often. And when you're live on Instagram, you're the first thing that people see on Instagram. So even if people are going in for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, suddenly it's going to become a systematic thing. They're going to be like, shit, this guy is always there. So sooner or later, they're going to watch. If you have 1,000 followers, or if you have 10, or if you have 15, if you go live, you're the first on their stories thing. You're the first thing to show. So the fact that, for example, when I see that he goes live, I see that you're doing your thing. I keep I'm watching different people doing different things, and I think it's working. I think it's just a matter of, it's going to take time, of course. That's when it comes to promotion. So that's another thing when I say about the creation of content. Another thing about promotion, which I also suggest, I don't know, you guys, I haven't done my research for each one of you, but like having just having a website, which is it's free to create on something like Squarespace, because at the end of the day, like, I'm a concert organizer. So when I'm a concert organizer, when I want to find, your work, it should all be in one place. Like, I just need to look, and you send me the website, and boom, I have your live videos, your official videos, your articles, your whatever, your social media links. Everything has to be there. So that
I have a question, Anthony.
Yeah.
I have a problem with this because I'm a multidisciplinary artist, let's say. I've tried having a website, having a page, but because I work in production and I work in art and I sing and I do paintings, I created a Facebook page for my music, but I feel like if I want to do a website, it shouldn't be just the music, I should put maybe all the projects that I do usually in my field, even in cinema.
Yeah,
But would you recommend that
yes, I would.
in music,
Yeah.
I would just do, let's say, a website just for the music and like ditch the page, or
No,
like just do a general website for all the art that I'm doing?
you have to, one thing that I would recommend is not to drive people into new directions.
Yeah, because they might get lost. You know, I do editing,
Yeah.
I shoot, I'm an assistant director sometimes. So sometimes projects are misleading to what your artist thing is.
Yeah. I think it's important to have a website. Websites, again, either cost nothing or cost very little to put together. I have my own personal website. It's on Squarespace. I differentiate myself as someone who's a worker, who does, I work with as Beirut under Beirut Jam Sessions, under Beatles Festival, under Deezer, under whatever. So that's all on my personal website. And in there, I have different parts, so I have talks, I have concerts, I have videos because I produce videos as well. I have this, I have that. So they're all under the same thing. For an artist, I think it's easier because you guys all have different things. I mean, you guys have a lot more talent than I do. I mean, you guys can sing, you can write, you do a zillion things. You guys have to, I would suggest, is you consider yourself as a brand. Like that's how you have to promote yourself. Meaning you have to look at yourself and say, if you were to look at, I'm giving the most random example in the world, someone like, I don't know, Coldplay. Coldplay is one of the biggest bands in the world. Like them or not like them, doesn't matter. The thing is, Coldplay is one of the biggest bands in the world, but they've branded themselves so well that you can recognize them. If I put a picture of them and remove their faces, you will know that it's them because of how well they've branded themselves. And it's the same with you. I mean, you have to consider yourself as a brand, as in, you're pitching yourself to people. That's how you have to think of it. People have to keep you at the top of, you have to be at the top of the mind. And there's some of you already here that for me, I think the branding is really well done. And I've seen it before, like Z, for example. Z, all your stuff is in black and white all the time. That's great. That's great branding. It's always, even when people are going to look for you on Google, if they're going to search you, it has to be relatively easy to find. And again, website, super easy. It's your portfolio. You guys some of you have been doing this for 20 years, 15 years. Even if you've been doing it for 1 year, think of how much you've done in 1 year, So it's just putting everything out there without overthinking what you're putting out there. Because I think that's also a problem that everyone wants to be like, have the greatest video and the bestest, and I only put my
perfectionist.
best. Yeah, but that, the taste of whether something is good or not is subjective. It's not a general rule. But having work and having things is a general rule. Like quantity is not subjective. Quality is subjective. So that's why I'm always in my mind, I think just keep creating, and then people are going to decide for you, and you're going to end up seeing what works and what doesn't work, which is what Ramli is doing. He's seeing what's working, he's seeing what's not working, right?
That's a really great point. Don't be afraid to experiment. Like, that's one problem we all have, is that you want it to be perfect. You want it to be produced the way you want. It doesn't really matter as much, not just because it's subjective, but because this is a very different age. People don't care. Like, they're going to consume your content so fast. They're going to forget about it. They're bombarded by 1,000 other things. It's your chance to try, and you have analytics. So you can go back to the app. You can see, did this work? How many, engagement, clicks, whatever it is. So experiment and then be consistent. Another problem I always face, just because it's tough to do, that if you just go in cycles and produce a lot of stuff and put it out there, and then you go dormant for 3 weeks, that's bad. You're going to start losing.
Yeah.
So as long as you keep posting things and you use them as a test, and you look at analytics, and you talk to people who are following you, because people will text you a lot and through inbox and so on, and figure out what's working, what's not, and then adjust and post again, adjust and post again. I think that's the way to go.
Something most of you do well already, but I don't think you realize that it's important, is that you all, whether you in some way or another, you all tell your story. And I think storytelling, meaning the way you put things out there, is super important. Like, if Delaney, when you say, I'm half Egyptian, half this, I grew up in Egypt, half Lebanese, half Swiss, grew up in Egypt, lived in New York, now I'm in Madrid. That's a story. That's a story in its own. Like that on its own, it's caught the attention for sure. And I think these are things that definitely we all undervalue our story. And I think all of you have, like, each one has his or her own story that's already something, you know. So just I would say don't be scared to put it out there, because when we do put it, when we're writing our bio or we're writing something, we're always thinking about either copying or basing it on someone else's bio, let's say, and like doing something similar, or we're trying to, you know, think of maybe it's too long, maybe what people think, and that it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you guys, again, each one's story is something, and that's also that goes into your website, your Facebook, your whatever. You can create it as you want. Another thing, when it comes to promotion, some ideas that you can do, it's exactly what Ramli has been doing. So, you know, going live on Instagram often, and again, even if you have one person watching, you have 0 people watching, if you have 5, if you have, wait, Alan is saying he's going to restart his Zoom. All right, cool. Yeah, even if you have 5 people watching, if you have 50, if you have, it really doesn't matter, because as we were saying, you know, someone is going to consume what you're doing. And again, 10,000 pieces of content a day. If you're going to spend 1 month to do a video for someone to see it in 1 second, that's, I mean, it feels, it's kind of like, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame that, you know, and I've seen it happen. I've seen people, they create these amazing videos and everything. And then I see it on myself. I watch it. I'm like, okay, cool, next. That's so bad. It's so wrong. So if the idea should just be, you know, keep doing.
The other problem, sorry to interject, but I've read this a bunch of places. Overproduced content is actually bad these days. So like if you create something and you put all this effort and it looks overproduced or it looks a little too perfect, it's actually not going to perform well on social media. People want to see a genuine, authentic, you filming yourself off your phone. As long as the sound is okay and the image is decent, I think that'll do.
Testing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
Guys, can I say something about posting? And I don't know, like I always have this, you know, like I worry that if I overpost or if I put music out there every week or every other week, and that I'm over consuming myself, that okay, like if people can go on my social media pages and see me a lot and hear me a lot, why would they want to hire me? Or why would, especially when I have, like, okay, last summer I used to have weekly gigs at Auden, and like, okay, so I'm playing this music every Sunday, and I worry if I go and post also every week something on my Instagram, people wouldn't want to go and watch me live. So also I feel there is a tiny, you know, like a thin line between over posting and being too much out there where people won't miss you, or where people maybe won't want to watch you live, and not being there like a lot. So I don't know if you get my point.
May I interfere?
Yeah.
Through this process that
Please.
I've been going through, you know, Ghanwa, how much we've recorded and how much content I have in Wujud to release, and nothing has been out yet, you know. But through that process, I got to an understanding that once you create something, khalas, it's no longer for you to keep. It's like it's gonna stay on your plate until you give it away, you know. And
I'm with Perla.
And I got also to an understanding that ultimate state of art, be it through music or filmmaking or however, it comes from an inner journey, okay? And every decision and choice can be taken in divergent, infinite way, but no one can do what each one of you can do, because no one has seen what each one of you has seen. So each one of us has to accept his art and to accept all critics, but to keep on shielding themselves and doing what they believe in, you know, and giving something out of their own experience. So don't be afraid, because the live experience is different. When people really appreciate the live, they will go to see you live. A video will fulfill them. Believe me, I know I would. You know?
Okay.
I just wanted to say,
thank you.
Sorry. I just wanted to say that Perla is completely right. I'm with you. Like, don't keep your 10 videos that you've recorded through this month on your phone. Just release them, you know, do something with them, and don't keep them, just share them. Like we should, I think it's our way of expression as artists, and it's like keeping stuff inside. At a certain point, you know, you'll get to a point where you're gonna explode. So
Dana?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
And Bella is right about that too.
I'm just muting so that the connection doesn't go slowly, and that whoever wants to speak can speak. So I'm just muting randomly when someone wants to speak. So Dana, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think Renoir does have a point. And okay, I'm performing at Odin every Sunday, and they've seen me and they've overheard me sing these songs or covers. But Renoir, I bet you have a lot of different talents in singing. Like you probably maybe have original music. You probably have a different vocal technique that you would use in your house, or harmonies that you mess around with. Show them something that you don't show at Odin. Bring something new to the table, because I bet you're just a bubble of art. So show your audience that.
Thanks, Dana. Thank you so much. I don't sing. I only play music.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
okay.
know that. But I bet you can mess around with your kanun, I don't know, percussive kanun, bring that to the table.
I'm so glad. I'm really, thank you so much for your opinion, because I always had this, feel like I don't want, like if I play too much or if I'm too much on social media, I'm no longer the surprise for people. So I always wanted them to just go and see me live, and I never posted anything. And people were amazed because I bet you like a lot of people don't even know about you. As Perla was saying, and I fully agree, they were this type of art existed, where this fusion between the Oriental instrument with electronic. So yeah, I guess we shouldn't have this fear. And it's only now, a month or 2 months ago, that I started getting over this and maybe going more live and putting more music out there.
Yeah, and you're not only targeting the people who come watch you at Odin, you're targeting people in the States, people in Paris, people everywhere. They're gonna watch and be like, "Oh, this is fantastic. We're gonna get more." So post away.
An issue that I feel like exists, I don't know if this is also a little bit more specific to violinists within New York City, but there's a tendency to, if you're going to get called or hired for a job, that people will check your social media, and you're worried that if it doesn't represent your best playing or your best moment, best intonation, best anything, best sound quality, because it's very difficult to translate your live sound over social media, and especially the violinist, so like intonation wise it's very sensitive, so it can sound much worse than in real life. There's a lot of fear around that. I know I'm not the only one, because my friends say the same thing, that if you post something that doesn't sound good, what if the next person who wants to hire you for a big gig, like a TV gig, or you want to play for a bigger artist, decides not to based on your social media?
Here's what I would say to that, and correct me if I'm wrong. If the person who's hiring you saw 15 pieces, let's say you have 15 pieces of content that are average sound, average whatever, and he sees that, he'll look at it and be like, okay, if you have, and trust me, if you have maybe 5 pieces of, less, even 2 pieces of content that are really good, and you have 5 followers, he's not going to hire you. He's gonna, that's the unfortunate truth, is that he's gonna look at, oh, what can she bring? Oh, she has this many This is a sad truth, but the thing is, Tony, do you want to say something, or? Because it looks like you're okay. Yeah. Anyway, so the sad truth, in my opinion, again, all this is great because we're exchanging ideas, and it's very cool because I'm hearing different points of view. But from the way I see it, for example, in violin it's different. I know it's classical music, it's more delicate, it's and so on. But I look at someone like, I hosted on Beirut Jam Sessions Gloria Campaner, who's a pianist, Italian pianist, who's really, really popular. And I went through her Instagram, and I saw that there was no no actual footage of her properly live, like real official footage, but there was a lot of footage of random stuff. And I thought this is super good because it shows a different side. At the end of the day, a person who's like a real promoter or someone who really works in this industry of live music is going to know how to look at the whole package. That's why I'm saying that when you put it all together, Instagram is what Instagram is. It's fast content. It's the behavior of it is fast content. And the thing of Instagram, again, one of the failures of it is that it's not a search engine, meaning you can't go on to search and say Delaney official video. You won't find anything. The only search engines in the world of video content are YouTube and Facebook. So you can put your actual content there, but the thing is, if you englobe them all into one website or one platform or one whatever, it's so much more helpful, because the person who's going to hire you, if he or she is making a decision based on Instagram followers, that's wrong. If they're making a decision based on Instagram videos, that's wrong. I don't think you would want to work with that person. You want someone who's going to see what you've actually done, who can see
totally, yeah,
the whole thing. So there's also that, And another thing, just before we switch to shift from promotion, unless someone would like to add on something, is don't be scared to reach out to people. Meaning, if you see artists that you know and you say, look, let's go live on Instagram, let's play for 15 minutes. Instagram, you do the 2 screens thing. I play for 10 minutes, you play for 10 minutes, and that's it. That alone is going to get you followers. And you probably know someone who has more followers than you, or vice versa. And these little things, it's all about promotion. And again, I know it feels overwhelming, but the thing is, it only feels overwhelming because you're thinking that it has to be great quality. That's the thing. You think that it has to be, if I have to film this and I have to do that. But at the end of the day, think of how many, just look on your Instagram or on your Facebook or whatever, it will tell you how many hours a day you're spending on it. And on that, it will hit you. You'll be like, shit, I'm spending 2 or 3 hours a day to just scrolling on this. Whereas to create any piece of content for this platform takes you 5 or 10 minutes. So you might as well use it and do something out of it. Before switching to everything that's related to income, so I just want to hear, before Perla, I know you want to say something, but I want to hear from Andy, from Karina, from Carlitos, from a bit more from Delaney, from Tony, from Alan. What do you guys have to say? I want to know what you guys think as well. Andy, go.
So in regards to promotion, I have fallen victim to not creating enough content. I feel I don't want to kind of put something out that seems half-hearted, but at the same time, I know I can, whenever I've been asked to appear on someone else's channel. So say there was a small festival where they only wanted like 3 songs. It took me 5 minutes. I just sat in the garden, did these songs, sounded great, and then posted it off, and I was really happy with it. So, it's kind of, there's a lot of procrastination and thought that goes through one's mind, which kind of prevents you from creating the content. Like, I'm always playing my instrument, but I struggle to, I don't know. It's a funny thing, because it's such like it's quite Instagram is quite a narcissistic kind of environment, and you kind of have to really indulge oneself to get the most out of that. So that's something I need to overcome by creating more content. So this has been really helpful for me, especially the points that you touched on with talking about posting on every single social media and keeping your fans on that platform, as opposed to trying to divert them off anywhere. Another thing which you kind of touched on about sharing like the Instagram live thing, I think that's brilliant, and I've been trying to create more links, because I was speaking to a friend, and he's a YouTuber, he's a skateboarder, and he's just recently got up to like 5,000 followers on his YouTube, and we discussed how he kind of went about doing that. And it was him being active on YouTube. So he'll spend like half an hour a day going through, he'll type in skateboarding, the top skateboarding films will come up, and then he'll leave comments on these people's profiles. And that way you're also, if it's all running on algorithms, imagine that you're kind of connecting to that. And so you're kind of becoming part of the circuit that's already going, because it is a social platform. So you need to be social within that. And I don't think like just clicking like or sending an emoji like that of how you feel is really going to be enough to help create that network. I think one needs to be more active within that. So that's something I'm starting to keep in mind is, and then but I guess you've got to do that on every single platform, you know. And something that might be interesting to kind of touch on, it's like, and it's a question to you guys, it's like, how do you feel what do you feel each social media platform gives to you, and why, and what are you know, because Instagram, it's like fast food content, like you're saying, but Facebook, for instance, it seems the people who kind of interact on Facebook, it seems like they put a bit more time into their interaction. I don't know, is that because they're sat at the computer perhaps?
Because one of them was created as a computer. It was first only on the computer, Facebook, then it turned into an app. Instagram is the other way around. It started as an app. So naturally, as an app, it's all about, you know, like fast content, and as you're saying, fast food content. So, yeah. But it's interesting what you say about the skateboarding thing, because yesterday I discovered an artist who a year ago had less than 1,000 followers on all his platforms 1 year ago. He went on TikTok only and decided he was going to post his aim was to post 700 different pieces of content in 1 year that are fast content. So he just kept doing it. He's on 1.9 million followers, of which all of them have now switched to his Instagram, his YouTube, his whatever. And now the guy is making a killing. Like, he's making a crazy amount of money from this. It's just to say that, nothing is linear. So everything's going to take time. But like, just be patient with yourself. Be patient. Yeah, we all have to be patient. In every part of our lives, you have to be patient. And don't be hard on yourself. If it's good, it's bad. It's there, you know? Like, and I've received a few people who've performed on Beirut Jam Sessions Instagram account, and they've been like, I don't want you to post the video on the IGTV. And I'm like, why not? They're like, because I don't want you to. I'm like, okay, I won't argue. But at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of your loss, you know, because this thing is opening a few doors, but totally fair. All I think is that just as long as you're not hard on yourself, if you're too judgmental on yourself and too hard on yourself about your content, then don't put it like that. Like don't. You can't be expecting. I mean, you can't have high expectations for your career if you're going to be that judgmental about your stuff. Because if I showed you your stuff that you did 2 years ago that are now live, that are still online, you're going to be like, shit, that was horrible. And what you filmed 2 years ago was high production, high value, super team and super that and whatever. So it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's there. Like, it's just everyone looks at what they've done before and is like, man, that was shit. Like shit. So it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Just quickly again, you can always post and then you can archive that stuff. So, you know, you can be active, but then you can start to curate what it is you want to keep on your profile for the future as well. You know, we were talking about the pianist, sorry, and she didn't really have many professional stuff, much stuff of her performing, but you know, she was posting stuff, but you can archive it so that you don't necessarily, you know, come back in a few weeks and take it down, but at least you're still feeding into that, into people's feeds. Exactly.
Just before we move on to everything related to income / earning money and ways to do that, does anyone want to add anything? Or
I would like to say something. Go ahead, you first.
Okay, you know.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, like, for the past few years, I was, you know, okay, I had all these accounts, but I was always lazy. And as I think Andy mentioned, that it's a very, like, for Instagram, it's a little bit narcissistic. So I don't like to, you know, show myself off so much. So I always felt problematic about that. But always, like, my friends and many fans used to tell me, why don't you post more and all these things? So it's been on my mind. And recently, like maybe 2 months ago, I started doing research as to what musicians' social media strategy should be, because it seems there's a strategy. So now, after much research and work, I have actually like a calendar that I'm following, and like it covers all the month, and I make sure to post many, like at least like, I don't know, maybe 10 videos, you know, like over the month. And I have every day I plan ahead, like, okay, today story, tomorrow image, this, that. It's hard, it's very time consuming, but I'm feeling that you know, my fans, because sometimes you feel that if you're not giving them what they need, because like I have, every time I put a video where I'm singing, I get a lot of followers, and then maybe it's the same, I don't know, but if after a year I post like just 2 more videos, that's it, in a span of a year, which is what I used to do, because, you know, I didn't want to do that. You see that they're unfollowing you because that's what they want. You're a musician and they want to listen to music. So I was like, okay, it's their right, of course, and maybe it's my fault. I should do more. I should give them more so that, you know, they stay. So that's what I started to do. But I have a question, actually. I don't know if the question is what you talked about, the cross promotion. You said never to cross promote. So I'm going to ask the question and tell me if that's what you meant. What I'm doing is like, let's say I filmed a video of myself singing a song. Okay, so I'm posting it on Facebook, on IGTV, and on YouTube. Is this cross promotion? Should I be doing this? Do I lose views? Like, I don't know, what is it okay, what to do?
Just another thing, just to, first of all, when it comes to views, the concept of views and the concept of likes, these two things, I beg of you to ignore them, because the thing with views and whatever, when a view on Instagram is 1 second, if that's considered a view and that's considered valuable,
it's 3 seconds, I think, not 1.
3 seconds, yeah, you know. The thing, so that's one. Second of all, if you by cross promoting, I mean sharing a YouTube link on Facebook. That's wrong. Like, don't like, and a lot of people still do this and still think, and then they come and they're like, how come my video didn't get many views? I'm like, it's as if you go to this is a famous saying that a lot of people say, use it, but it's exactly this. It's going to Burger King and ordering a Big Mac. You know, it's the same thing. They're going to be like, who the hell are you? You order my Big Mac, order my burger. Why do you want that burger? You know,
Sorry, but how do you promote a YouTube video then? What do you do?
YouTube video is a YouTube video. You can promote, you can actually advertise on YouTube, by the way. YouTube has its own advertising thing where you can promote. The thing with YouTube is that you can then do a post and say my video's on YouTube. You have to remember that if someone sees your video entirely on Instagram, they can't search for it after. They cannot. Instagram is not, unless they go to your profile and they go to your IGTV, and those 2 steps are too long for someone. So it's too much. It's not a search engine. Instagram is not a search engine. Your only search engine for video officially is YouTube. So even today, if I tell you, hey guys, did you guys see the new video of Beyonce? You're not going to look for it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. You're going to go to YouTube. So we've been fed for so long that, you know, put this on here and promote it everywhere. You can say it's available on this. Another thing a lot of artists do is they post for an official video, let's say an official video clip, they post 30 seconds of it on Facebook and say, watch the full video on YouTube. When someone does that, it won't work. It just won't work, because someone's gonna see that and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I saw the video. They'll just be like, I saw the video. So you might as well put the entire video on Facebook, because that's where they're gonna see it. Put the entire video on YouTube, because that's where they're gonna search for it. Put the entire video on IGTV, because that's where they're gonna share it. And each one has its own power. So you have to put it.
Anthony, I want to add to what you're saying, that this is absolutely true. And I just recently experienced this while I was sending people on Facebook to the YouTube link, and I wasn't getting any views on the post. And I noticed a huge difference between the views number of whenever I send people to another link, SoundCloud or YouTube, or in comparison with the post where it's just on Facebook and I'm not sending people anywhere else. The difference between the amount of views is crazy. So I think Facebook just doesn't give you, the algorithm doesn't work, or it doesn't put your post out there. Or as you said, it's like, you gave me this very logic example. It's like going to a club and taking your bottle of alcohol with you. It's very true, and it happened with me.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
Facebook actually has an article about that. It tells you, like, use our own videos and you'll get a better reach. Don't use a third party, because YouTube has an SEO with Google, Facebook as well, but Instagram doesn't. So if you want to like increase your SEO and your name to appear on the first page, like, you just want to use those.
So let's just switch on to something else. One thing that was raised by many.
Anthony, can I say something?
Sorry, Alan. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I just want to talking about promotion. I don't get this stigmatization about TikTok and the fact that if you're a real musician or you're a real artist, you're not supposed to make, dumb videos on TikTok. TikTok, it's not like millennials are not supposed to, or it's only for kids. TikTok doesn't have any of the guidelines that Instagram and Facebook have, and doesn't restrict your views. So on Instagram and Facebook, you're supposed to pay money to reach just a few thousand people. And if you want to reach more people, they take more and more in your money. And so on TikTok, you don't, like, with one post, you can reach 1,000 billion people. There are crazy hashtags out there. I think it's more like a necessity to get on there and try to, join the game.
My suggestion, if you guys want to try it, and I mean, TikTok is, as I said with all the others, it's become a quantity game. You have to post a lot. Mm-hmm. TikTok is one of them where the posting is so fast that all you need to do is go on there, sing for 15 seconds, do that 10 times a day for 1 month, and come back to me and tell me if it didn't work. If it didn't work, I'll give you anything you want. You guys you're performers. I don't sing. I don't play an instrument. I'm not gonna go there and say like, hey guys, this is what I think of the day. I want to find my angle on TikTok. I don't know what it is yet, but I definitely want to find it because I believe in it. I think it's gonna.
Anthony, I have a question about TikTok, because I have no clue. I didn't even download the application on my phone. But I have a question. Are you saying to be on TikTok is to perform, like post videos of our music?
Anything. You get creative, basically.
Basically, each TikTok post is 15.
Oh, I have no clue.
It's roughly 15 seconds. When you're playing the Anoon, all you can play 15 seconds, post it. Then in an hour, play 15 seconds, post it. Another. Do that 10 times a day.
I didn't know that. I thought posting
me neither.
Had to be something dumb, something dancey, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Me too.
When Instagram started, we all thought it was a photography app. That's what it was when it started. When Facebook started, we all thought it was a university app. And now look how they developed. And the only thing that you notice is the people who are winning on Facebook and Instagram and whatever are those who caught it at the beginning, when there was no algorithm and there was no advertising on it. TikTok is still at that point now. So there's a possibility for us all, even myself. I just want to find my angle. And at the moment, my angle is I film my dog. So I need to find the actual angle that can keep me consistent, Okay, now we've been on this for an hour. I want to just switch on to something else. First of all, everyone brought up the topic more or less about income, about making money, about revenue from this thing. And this is relatable here in Lebanon as it is elsewhere. So that's a first thing. Who has joined? Someone called admin. Okay, another thing. So everyone is worried about that. About that, which is normal, but also worried about the future of concerts and the future of live performances. I'll tell you right now, this is my opinion, and you can choose to believe it. You can choose to to think like I think, it's totally your call. Right now, there's no concerts in the world, and there won't be for the next few months, but it won't be as long as people are saying. And I have two examples of proof of that, of two festivals that I've been invited to give talks at. One is a festival in Estonia called Tallinn Music Week that they do every year. Normally, this festival, they close the city, and it's little concerts all around the city throughout the week. That usually gathers maybe 20,000 people spread out through the city. Now, with the virus, they had shut down like everywhere else. They got the go-ahead from their government today. I mean, it's gone ahead now, but I mean, last week, that the festival can go ahead for concerts up to 500 people. Signed, sealed, stamped, in August, it's going ahead. So that's one. A second one is from one of the epicenters, which is South Korea. South Korea there's a festival I was invited to called the DMZ Peace Festival. There, they had, I think it was supposed to be in June. It's been pushed till July. They were the second highest number of cases of the virus in January or February, I think. Ramli, as a doctor, I'm sure you know better. I don't know exactly, Sahtain, by the way. I don't know how was Korea.
Exactly, but yeah, they were.
They were one of the highest, and this was in January or February. So that's 3 months ago. They're hosting a festival for 10,000 people in June. So that's roughly five months later. The thing is, some countries, most Western countries, and even here in Lebanon, have been in lockdown since March. So we just need to, I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but I'm just saying that the idea that it's gonna be for 1 year and 2 years it's a fear-mongering thing that people are feeding on. So it's not all doom and gloom at the moment, and it is gonna change. But for now, I'm sure the first series of concerts that are gonna happen are gonna be 50 people and less, first of all. This, I'm sure of it. So I hope even the bigger artists in the independent scene everywhere are gonna accept to play these shows. Second of all, I think there's gonna be a thing, this is speculation, this is my opinion. I don't know if you agree or not. Another thing I think that's gonna definitely happen is they're gonna do fever checks on everyone who walks in, and they'll ask for, like some sort of scannable thing that says that you have taken the test on this day and that you're, blah, 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 or you've been vaccinated or whatever. That's going to become, I think, the norm for the next few years. It's just a question of time. I don't know if it's true or not. This is my feeling. That's where I think we're going. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely not as bad as most people. I'm not saying it's not the bad virus or whatever, but I mean in terms of music industry and live concerts. Because if you think of it, the first industry that was chopped off was everything related to gathering of people, so live music, whatever, and sports events. Those two were the first to go, and they'll be the last to come back. So those are the things you have to keep in mind. Now, that was just for the future of concerts. I don't want to spend too much time on it because nobody really knows. Nobody knows at all what's going to happen. This is speculation. The other thing I want to talk about, which is related to everyone, is when it comes to making money off your music right now with what's happening. First of all, I'm now an employee at Deezer. I've been with them this is my first month. But a platform like Spotify today has a support your artist thing. So today, I don't know if you're aware of that. That's one thing. You can put all these pieces of content I'm telling you, you can put them on Spotify. You don't need to think. You can just say, I've released this thing, please support it. The streams, if you imagine you're getting 500 streams, right? And those 500 streams, each person donates $1. That's already, it's not.
Anghami is doing that too, just today started.
There you go. For those who don't know, Anghami is the Spotify of the Middle East. It's a big platform here. They're doing the same. When it comes to money from revenue streams, this is something a lot of people try to focus on, or money from YouTube ads, or money from so on. I'll send you guys the numbers. The money from streams, unless you're getting a million views, a million on anything, you're not going to make money off streams. You know what I mean? These little things of support the artist, whatever. In the meantime, until concerts come back, that's a very, very good solution. There's Spotify that does this. There's Bandcamp. I don't know which one of you are on Bandcamp or not, but on Bandcamp, you can, again, it doesn't need to be official stuff. Like, I keep going back to the thing that it's more about putting stuff out there. So if you have a Bandcamp, let's say a Bandcamp page, and you put out an EP that you've just performed in your room of 3 songs, and you tell people, guys, support this. Bandcamp, in normal circumstances, if you put your album, your EP at $10, let's say, and 100 people buy it, or they support your thing, you can name it whatever, buy it, support, whatever. Bandcamp is the only platform in the world that gives you 85% of the revenue. So if you get 85% of the revenue, that's $850, which is not bad at all. So the only thing is, it goes back to what we were saying before. We are overthinking things. We are overthinking about the quality and whatever and this and that. Ignore that. Try something. Put out 2-3 songs that you've recorded in your room, in your whatever. Put it there. Tell people, I'm putting this here on Bandcamp. This is how you can support. You get 2 songs on, you know. It's little things like this that can help in the meantime. So those are in terms of online stuff. I think on Instagram, one of the things, I was trying to do this for all the Instagram lives that you guys participated in, and it was an absolute nightmare to try and put it together. So for those who don't know, in Lebanon, because we have, beyond everything, we have an economic crisis and the revolution and whatever, we have a banking crisis, which is that if someone from outside sends you money, you can't retrieve it here, or things like that. It's so complicated. So there are different ways to do it. And one of them, which I'm planning to do I'm going to do it hopefully soon to support one of the causes in Lebanon, is instead of, since there's always solutions. So this is for the guys in Lebanon at the moment. Since we can't use Kickstarter, we can't use Indiegogo or GoFundMe or whatever, all these platforms, if we try them, even if people send the money to us, we can't get it, because they're not going to allow us to, even if the money comes into the country, the bank won't let you retrieve it, because it's too much, it's either too big amounts or whatever, or this and that. One of the things which I've realized is what you can do is actually put together a ticket concert thing. So like, you know, there's ehshows.com, which is a platform here to buy your tickets. You put a ticket price, you tell people, I'm doing this, donate, and that's the thing with Ehshows, which is great, is they can transfer the money directly to your account. So yeah, go.
What's the name of this website again, sorry?
This one, it's a Lebanese website called Ehshows, IHJOZ. And you can use it abroad as well, by the way. Yeah, go on, spell it out for me, mate. That'd be great. IHJOZ. Yep.
You can write it in the chat, Anthony.
Oh yeah.
I write it in the chat.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's one example. So I'm actually going to use this.
Just to touch on that, as it's relevant at this point, Anthony. I got approached by someone in Canada who wanted to organize a show over Zoom for their friends, because they were all in isolation. So I did like a PayPal. I sold it was like $15 for a ticket, and then I gave them a free download of my EP, which is on Bandcamp. I ended up having to forward the EP, because Bandcamp, if you were offering vouchers, they can't give you 100% off the price. So I ended up transferring the thing. But anyway, it worked out. I made like $200 from just everyone buying a ticket, and so it's
not bad.
A good way to do it.
Another thing, I think some of you do this. So one thing, as I said, is the Spotify thing. Another one, Bandcamp. Another one, putting an Ehshows link, doing your little live performance, asking people to pay. And again, don't be downhearted. Like you choose the price. So if you put minimum $10 and you tell 10 people, look, I'm gonna perform for on a Zoom account, let's say, like as you did. You say Zoom account, like what I did now with the Google form. So I created a Google form. You can do the same with the Ehshows thing and then perform on Zoom. there you go. Like what you exactly PayPal, but in this case for the Lebanese people use Ahjoz. People can do it, and then they will transfer you the money. So that's an option. Another thing, unless I'm mistaken, a few of you can actually teach. Like I've seen some of you teach online, and that's something that is priceless, to be honest. Whether it's an Anoon, and I don't know anyone else who plays the Anoon, and I've never seen anyone who plays the Anoon personally. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn it. There's people who can teach vocal, like singing. There's people who can teach guitars. You can teach anything, and people would pay for this. It would pay, even if it's small amounts. But small amounts means you do it for a small amount of time. You tell them, look, a 20-minute class is going to cost you $5 or $10, whatever. A 1-hour class is going to cost you $30. Oh, I don't know, I'm saying anything. But that's an example. And to reach out to people, you just need to do your promotion, which is what we've spoken about, on all the platforms, same exact thing. Hey guys, I'm a violin player, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be giving a class on Zoom. The link is in my bio, blah, 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 blah. Reach out if you want to, like, it's so simple. You could, and to make it even more sorry, Andy, we'll go to you just 1 second. Reach out to schools, any school you know, and tell them I'm offering this for X amount. And schools will be like, okay, yeah, great. This is a new, we're going to teach our schools. Schools at the moment need to keep their people connected and entertained everywhere in the world. And this is an option you can do. You're all musicians. If I were a musician, I would be doing that. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to teach people how to play the guitar. I'm going to reach out to children in I don't know where, in I don't know which city, and say, I'm going to give you guys classes. It's going to cost X amount to the school. They would do it. I think they would do it, unless I'm mistaken. But that's an example. Like we need to remove the whole like, oh no, I don't do this because I'm an artist. But we're all, I mean, these are the solutions. These are like really good solutions at the moment that I've seen a lot of people do. And if you add all these things up, you could make like, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 a month doing this in lockdown, which is a great amount to make. And yeah, I mean, yeah, go on, Andy, what were you going to say?
I'm doing lessons from last week, and it was the same thing. I was very, I don't do lessons because I didn't feel as though I was a qualified enough guitarist because I'm a self-taught guitarist, so it's quite a unique style that I play. But I did that, and now from last week I've got like 7 lessons which are reoccurring each week. So that, and then also with the I do it for 45 minutes, but I usually run over. And I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna end up subscribing to these lessons, but I just made a little video on my phone, and you can even use if you've got an iPhone or you've got like the movie editor thing, I just made it on that, and so you can go onto my Instagram, which is on the chat page, and it's it's not the best video in the world, but from that, and I posted it individually on each platform. Maybe I'll do it on TikTok after this conference, but from there it's worked really well, and I've managed to pick up lessons, and so I'm teaching like people in Georgia in America, people in Canada, Italy, and it's that's the thing about now, you've really got that reach, and it's really nice. And that's what, when I said at the beginning, like I've met so many interesting people during this period, it's through the likes of these social tools like Zoom and stuff like that.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's an option, and all of you can teach. You can do so much. I mean, that's another option. So I'm not sure in what order I put them, but I mean, we can write them down for you guys to see. And anyways, I'm recording this so we can go back through this. Another thing is there's a platform I'm sure you guys know called Patreon. And Patreon is a platform where, based on what you create, people pay. So, and again, you can do that for Lebanon, you can do it on Ahjoz or whatever. Another thing that's going to happen, by the way, is that now that in Lebanon, at least, little groups of certain amount of people can gather and can, I mean, it depends on each one. But I mean, if you told someone, you put on your Patreon account or whatever, on the Ahjoz thing or whatever, you say, I'm going to do a house gig for $100, I'll play, I don't know, 5 songs or whatever. And think of So Far Sounds, but being paid in houses, and where people are now kind of gradually accepting the thing. Like at least, you know, that it's little stuff like that. I mean, it can work. Dana, you work with So Far Sounds, so you know how it works.
We're just doing it with So Far Sounds right now, and it's only the UK headquarters that is streaming. But the other cities, right? Recently, we started just live streaming some artists.
Yeah.
Very recently. I know it's hard to
do anything like that. Those are the ideas, like to keep income flowing. And well, as
Patreon, I would say yes, everyone's on it and is on Twitch, definitely, if you want to give lessons. Twitch is booming. It was for gamers, now it's an online platform for teaching.
Twitch started 2 years ago. It was just people streaming their games, their matches of FIFA or NBA or whatever. Now people are playing like even the guys who have bands in town have had 10 million viewers donate to artists performing on Twitch. So that's also another thing to consider. So the thing is, there's a lot of.
Could you explain that again? Sorry, Anthony. The bands in town. I don't understand the.
So basically, Bands in Town has created. I don't know if you guys know Bands in Town. It's a platform that tells you where concerts are happening. For those who don't know, so Bands in Town have their own page on Twitch. They've come up with a lineup, and on that lineup, they opened it on Twitch. Twitch still has the element of a bit of organic reach and whatever. People would go watch the concert, donate, and you know that's how it's been going. So they've had 10 million viewers in a month and a half on. So if 10 million viewers donate whatever, I don't know, $1, $2, whatever it is, it's an insane amount of money. It's insane. So yeah, that's another thing. Another thing in terms of income.
Sorry, Kanye, before you move much forward, I have a question about the first part of the income revenue. I have never released music officially, so I don't have Spotify. I'm not on Anghami. Once I wanted to upload the whatever I'm producing or any kind of live raw performances on Bandcamp, but they wanted an account. And I told them I don't have, they wanted PayPal. I said, I don't have PayPal. Can I give you my bank account? They said, no, sorry, it doesn't work. So I couldn't. So how are you saying we can get a Bandcamp in Lebanon?
With Bandcamp, by the way, that's a big mistake they've made. I met the CEO of Europe, and their attention is not Middle East, Africa, or Asia. They don't care about the three of them. But if you know anyone, and us as Lebanese, we do know a lot of people in Europe, you can just use an account for anyone. That's what I've done with most of the artists I know. I just tell them, look, open a PayPal account. PayPal account it's an email address with a PO box code and whatever of someone you know there. That's all they need. And then they do it. Once the money is there, then they can transfer it to you. That's how it would work. If you want to upload your stuff on Spotify and Hami, whatever, I don't know, you guys use different things. I suggest there's a thing called TuneCore. It's the one I think is the best. TuneCore or CD Baby. Those are two platforms. You go on them, you upload your music. They distribute it digitally on all the platforms, Anghami, Deezer, Spotify, whatever. And then the revenue comes in from there. But the revenue...
I don't think you get the revenue. You have to register with the PRO, then you get the revenue. And you have to claim your accounts first and make sure you're metadata.
Yeah, but it's not. Streaming will never get you high revenue.
$1 million will get you $1. So
you have to be added in playlists and market, and the new radar kind of playlists they do. It's very hard, I think, to make money out of these.
It's the thing is, it has to be. You have to look at it, but basically, you have to consider yourself that every person who listens to music, if they can't find your music, then it's your problem, not theirs. That's a big thing. So yeah, yesterday I was with. So there's a guy I think he's an unbelievable artist. He goes under the name Cosmic Analog Ensemble. I don't know if you know him. He's Lebanese, based in Portugal. His name is Sharif Murban. I don't know what his family name is. And I met this guy before, and this guy has 100 albums on Bandcamp. This guy is so talented. Like it's he and yesterday he was doing an interview on Instagram with a friend of mine, and so we were only like 5 people watching, and because I know him, but I kept asking him questions. I'm like, why are you only on Bandcamp? Like, why not everywhere else? And I think he doesn't realize that 100 albums over the past, I don't know, decade it's insanity. Like he doesn't, because he's always been in the quantity game, because he'll be like, okay, this time, and like he used to work with the Red Cross, so he'll be like, now I think with the Red Cross or something humanitarian in Africa. He lived in Kenya. He was in the mood to record something, African. He did it, launched it. He went on different.
Sorry, what's his name?
I'll write it down for you. Cosmic Analog Ensemble. He's unbelievable. And even yesterday we were saying, like, if someone wants to discover you, there's a problem, which is, where do they start? Like, what are you going to put out there? And he's like, whatever you fancy, whatever name looks cool to you, you go and you look for it and you like it, you watch it. So is Perla saying something? Yeah. Perla, oh no, you were stretching. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's another option, and you can go about it like that. Anyone?
Anthony, can I suggest something? For people who can't invest right now in distribution because it can cost money on a yearly plan, the way I claimed my accounts was through a distributor called Rootnote. It's a French one, not very known, but they do it for free.
Oh yeah.
You can just go claim your account and move on with your life.
Can you write it in the chat? There's one in Italy as well that I used to work with for postcards at the time. Soundreef. Have you guys? Soundreef. Soundreef is also another one.
Yeah. Just quickly, guys, I read an article 2 days ago. It's just come back to me, and I'll try and find it. So SACEM, which is the PRS, the French PRS, like performing rights, they are now going to be paying royalties on streamed concerts from June the 1st.
Okay, that's very.
So I don't know how that affects the royalty services that you guys have kind of like signed up with, but I'll find the article, and in fact I'll post it now, because I did saved a bookmark of it. But
in Canada too, the government is giving money for all the artists that are doing live shows.
Cool.
Really?
Got announced this week. It's fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, in Lebanon.
In Lebanon too. Joking.
I wish. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. I'm gonna speak. Yes.
Anthony, speaking of, in Lebanon, we are the least, lucky now, because with the situation, I think entertainment has become maybe the least of people's priority for now. So I don't think anyone, because besides Corona, I don't know if the rest of the artists are aware, we have a recession, we have a very big economical crash, and I think this has put even more of a burden on us, because entertainment and music has become maybe not a priority for people now. I don't think anyone's willing to spend even a buck on that while they're worried about food and other things. So
you have to put it this way: we are 5-6 million in Lebanon. If you want to think of Lebanese, if you want to think just like Lebanese, we're in the country we're 5-6 million, depending on what you want to believe. Yeah, I mean, who knows the number? But there are like 18 million Lebanese outside. So
that's true. That's a good point.
And more than that, there are like 400 million Arabs outside. So, and for me, I would rather, like, I know that we're facing a tough time. I know it's been terrible for a while, and it's going to stay terrible for a while. But I mean, I would rather, at least from my point of view, just ignore the bad stuff. Not ignore, they're there. They're going to stay. In 10 years, 10 years ago, they were here. And in 10 years, they'll still be here, unless, I don't know, like, we're... But I would rather just focus on like the things we can do with the current circumstances. And it's very hard to try and project. If I told you where do you see yourself in 5 years, dude, like if someone told me 1 year ago where I'll be today, I'll be like, are you insane? You know, like all the stuff we've seen in the past 7-8 months here in Lebanon, like no one could have predicted that. No one. So
Sure.
there's no, I would say there's no point in trying to project far, but rather this is the circumstance we're in. This is what it is. It's not, and it's bad for everyone, whether it's in Lebanon or elsewhere. Everyone's going through a different fight at the moment, but we have to make the most of what we have. And what you have now is, as musicians, you have talent, you have platforms around the world that everyone is using to expose your talent. And right now, I say is the time to completely focus on building your name online. Build your name online, build your brand, build your whatever. Just keep building. And the only way to do that is create. Now is the time to build your brand name. You have to, when things get better, you have to be one of the first people that people are going to think of when they're like, oh, I want to watch a rock concert. That's the guy I'm going to go to. Oh, I want to see a Qanun player. That's the girl I'm going to go to. Oh, I want this. Because you're going to be the first. The people who are active at the moment are the ones who will win when things are better later on. Because things, whether better or much better than now anyway, but things will open up again. It's an economic crisis. It doesn't stay forever. Things will improve, but it'll take time. But just think of the opportunity, which is, it's a global economic crisis. It's not Lebanese. It's not unique to what we're going through. Is not where ours is more messed up for us because we know the people behind and we know what's happening behind. But at the same time, we should think of like lots of other people who have it worse and other countries who are having this for the first time. And you know, a lot of people are struggling. It's all relative right now. So yeah, I want to hear from Carlos. I want to hear from Tony. I want to hear from Alan. I want to hear from you guys.
Anthony.
Yeah.
You hear me? Yeah. Would you recommend, for example, if I say that I record the song at home, like as you said, not well produced, just normal kind of quality, would you recommend to post it in Spotify, which means like it's a platform where artists post their like the EPs and that, but like the real ones, the one they've paid for it, you know, like the big quality ones?
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely would recommend, because if you're going to wait until it gets produced and until you have the money to produce in the studio, you're never going to do it. So at the moment, this is what you can afford now is to record in your room and upload it. Quality might be good, great, might not be good, it's fine, but that's not for you to decide. That's for the people who listen to decide. I like, for example, there's an artist I like called Tallest Man on Earth. He would record his songs with a tape recorder, like, you know, old tape recorder, and nobody, like, there's no rule, you know, there's no more, like, the rules are broken. They've been broken because of the internet, and this is what shook the music industry, that all the rules have changed. So,
okay.
Nana suggests that she can help you with that, by the way, because she produced.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. So that's definitely, I think you shouldn't think about the high quality thing. Just think about putting it out there. Let people find your music and discover it. Like when I spoke to you for you to perform on Beirut Jam Sessions, there were just a couple of links, you know. So I was looking and I was like, I can't find much. There's some artists I took a real gamble on because I was recommended about them through others. And I was like, there's some I know, like most of you I know, but there was some I took a gamble on. I was just like, I didn't know what to expect there. But in my head, I'm like, that's not for me to decide. Like I have a platform, and if people watch it and they like it, then great. If they don't like it, it's not a problem as well. It's very subjective. So, yeah, Alan.
I think one of the biggest mistakes we make as artists is to refrain from putting out stuff that we don't think are perfect.
Yes.
You know, and that stems from the fear of, you know, not being liked or something. Because I've been producing music since like 2014, and I've only started releasing just a couple of years ago. And I'd look back and listen to the stuff that I made 5 years ago or something, and they sound to me, I just, it's astonishing, because how could I not notice how this sounds brilliant right now. I thought it was a piece of shit back then, but now I listen to it, I'm like, how could I hide this?
Yeah.
Like this thing right here, that is over flooding with stuff that I did not put out because I thought they were not perfect.
Yeah, there's no.
Now I'm realizing that, this is not up, like you said, it's not up to me. All we have to do is just put ourselves out there and, leave that to the audience.
There you go.
To decide, like you said.
I mean, even for me, this Beirut Jam thing on Instagram really introduced me to a lot of people. And there was this hip hop band from Akkar that I discovered called Ghuraba that performed. And I was just like, these guys have never been given a chance to perform. I realized, for me, it was awesome. And I realized there's so many more of them, so many everywhere. It's just, you need platforms to discover them, to give more, opportunities and stuff like that. But for me, it was awesome. For someone else, it might not be. That's the beauty of music. It's a subjective thing. So yeah, Tony, I want to hear from you.
صباح Tony.
يلا اسمعوني. Can you hear me? Okay, so my thoughts on the subject is that nowadays, I think like all of us here on Zoom now, in this meeting, we spend a lot of time on our phones, like you said, Anthony, before. So we're always scrolling down and going through different social medias, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So I came to this realization not so long ago that I don't want to be the typical hater, just hating on social media and saying, Facebook is like this and Instagram's like that, and I don't like this and I don't like that, but rather work it in a way that I benefit from it. Like, for example, if you scroll down my Facebook feed, you would see stuff that I enjoy, like, for example, guitar, cooking, design stuff, because I'm an interior designer, like stuff that I enjoy scrolling down my feeds and looking at. And when it came to starting these live videos, Anthony, once you were around when we were playing, and you said to me why don't you do something about what I'm hearing? So when all this lockdown started and we couldn't meet up with the band to record stuff and all this stopped, I had all my equipment home and I was like, I can go live now. Let's do this. Just let people enjoy it, because we have it now. 50 years ago, you would only go watch a concert. You would only go watch a live band at a concert. You wouldn't be sitting on a toilet seat and watching your friend perform, which is great. I would ask people to put your earphones on and do whatever the fuck you want. Just give me your ears for 10 minutes, 30 minutes and enjoy the show. You don't have to dress fancy. You don't have to be in the mood. Just click it. And now the things you said about how to make it lucrative and how to start making money of it, this is beautiful. I didn't think of it that way, but we shouldn't be shy or think that we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. We are creators. We are creating stuff. We are making people feel less shitty. So
that's
a few pennies wouldn't hurt.
Because even to go back to when I started the Beirut Jam Instagram thing, it's normally not what we do, and we usually film sessions and we do our concerts and whatever. And in my head, I was like, man, I am 100% sure that when I watch any of these people, it's going to make me feel better. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to feel better by watching this. And the proof was there. All of you, and that's why I mentioned it when I sent the messages to people. I'm like, whether 5 people are watching or 500, you're changing someone's day. And I can guarantee you that only musicians can do that. It's not, if a sportsman starts, a footballer starts juggling the football, you're not going to feel better about your day. You're going to look and you're going to be like, oh shit, he can do that and I can't. That's one thing. When a musician is playing, you're like, whoa, this is cool. Like I'm listening to it. Most of the artists I'll be watching on the laptop, not on the phone. So I'll put it and I'll be cooking and I'll be, doing my work, cleaning the house, whatever. And I was like, man, this is so cool. Like I've just discovered so many new artists and so many people kept saying the same thing. So yeah, Tony, you're absolutely right. Like you guys have a power that I wish, I want to say I wish I have it at the same time I don't, because I'm like, it's too much of a burden in my head, because it's like being a superhero and you don't know what to do with it. So it's your...
You have different superpowers, and I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure.
My dog is my savior at the moment. He's the one who's keeping me sane. We still have like 20 minutes, so if anybody has any questions, let's go.
Sorry, I wanted to ask something. Actually, before Carlitos he asked his question, I had it in mind, and his question was similar to mine. When I started understanding what it is, like how music is recorded, because I learned everything as I progressed on this path. I understood that there's something called mastering in the end when you record at the studio. So he asked a question about releasing home recorded tracks, and you said, yeah, just go for it. Like, do you think that because like a few years ago, I learned Ableton and I got all this equipment and I started learning how to record, how to edit, how to mix, and okay, I'm doing an okay job. And I thought that because my boyfriend and I have been working on a track together, do you think it's a good time to officially release like a single? Because as you know, I don't have anything officially released, and like without the mastering, without anything. How do you think about that?
If you don't put too much, like manage your expectation on when you're releasing a single, because when you say I'm releasing a single, you make it feel like it's heavy.
Exactly. What it is, Aslan, to release? Is it a declaration today? Before, like we used to work in filmmaking and we used to take days and hours and months and years and today, like Netflix is killing it, So it's a very fast pace at this point. What it is to release, like
no, I mean, like I
upload now.
Finish music and upload it, or like
what are you waiting for?
No, wait, like I don't have a CD Baby account, or I don't have a TuneCore account. So do I have to go through that? That's what you mean?
You need to know, Anthony. I don't know.
Karina, I think most of the softwares we use for music, they have plugins for masterings too. You can go and put like a kind of pre-edited master, and then you can go and like play with the frequencies and stuff. But all mastering does is to push the waves and to like put the small sounds up and the low sounds down, and just to like equalize everything. But if you have a good mix, your master would need maybe less than half a day to do, and a geek maybe or someone you know could help you with that.
Send it to me.
Dana.
Biggest technique here.
I don't think you should put a lot of pressure on that. If you have something good and you feel like it's orgasmic, just release it and create your TuneCore or root note or whatever.
CD Baby, right? Like I can't just put it like that.
If you wanted to,
you can.
If you wanted
I've worked with some friends, some stuff unmastered and just a draft mix,
Yeah, you know what?
The sound can change. It can never stop. You could always remaster and remaster and remaster and remaster something.
It can be called, whatever the name of
demo, mixtape, whatever.
Home version.
Yeah. And there's even I forgot what it's called now. Do you know the?
I have something.
It's a Canadian website where you upload. It should come up on your feed anyway.
Guys, I have something to say about that.
Demastered, is that where it's all algorithm? You just like press go and.
Sorry, a small example
for £90. And I've mastered songs online with Abbey Road Studios for £90. And I live in Montreal and they're in London. So they would send me sample tests, and if I like them, they would master.
Did that too.
Yeah.
I master with Germany. I'm in Spain.
This app's pretty good though. Like I don't think you need to pay £90 for something in the first instance. It's because it's difficult sometimes to put up money for something when you're just kind of starting. You know, it's like what you're saying about Tallest Man on Earth. You know, he just recorded it on his tape machine. So the rules aren't set. And then it also ties back into what you were saying about like social media, and, you know, you just need to keep posting stuff and releasing stuff and that sort of stuff.
To answer Karina, just a small personal experience. I had 2 tracks released about 2 or 3 weeks ago, which took literally about 4 or 5 months to release them. I had them recorded here at studios, at really fancy studios, sent out to a Greek producer, and Café de Anatolia was the record label who adopted the tracks. I don't know if you're familiar with this record label. It's the very ethnic, electronic, tribal, music record label line. Anyways, just to give you an example, so we got those released with the record labels. They were so well done, everything. And then about a week ago, a producer from Jordan reached out to me telling me that he's interested in a collaboration. And that he wanted just some music from my Qanun to add to few tracks that he was working on. And I told him, it's lockdown, I can't get to a studio, blah, blah. He's like, why don't you record it at home? And I literally used my phone to record the Qanun on it. And I just emailed him the music. He works on Ableton. He sent it to me within 2-3 days. It was absolutely beautiful. I don't know if he did the mastering, or I don't know how he did it. I'm not the producer. But just to give you an example, we put it out there without a record label, with nothing. It took literally a week, and people loved it. And I was getting feedback about that track just exactly the same way I was getting very positive feedback about the tracks that took 3 and 4 months and that were recorded at the studio. So just to tell you that don't be afraid. It's not people, especially like, okay, we're not talking about pro or people who are in the music industry, but the rest of the world will not notice and will not know and will enjoy the music the way it is. For now, at least, until we are able to go back to studios or have the maybe the means to spend on our tracks.
People in the music industry, we record on tour buses, and there's a lot of noise, and then we post-produce it. So record on your phone. As long as the intention is there, the emotion is there, just put your music out.
Yeah, Karina, for example, now that I've been working with Deezer, we're going to release like a series of home performances and stuff. We've received like 20 from different artists that take shows and whatever, all recorded by phone, just sent to one guy to mix and master. And so they film it. So they literally have their phone filming them performing. They send it to us like that, and we just clean up the sound. And then you listen to it uploaded onto Deezer, and you're like, like what the fuck is that? So it's really like, it also depends, because if you're going to go for, as Perla was saying, what's releasing a single? What's this? Is it a declaration of what? It's just put it out there, see what it does. Because if you're going to put it out there now with the weight you're putting on it in your mind, if you get there and it gets heard 100 times, you're going to be like, shit, it's bad, it's this, it's that, and it's not. It's just, you have to imagine, and this is for a fact, every day on Spotify, so just Spotify, not Deezer, not Anghami, not Apple Music, just Spotify has 40,000 new songs uploaded per day. So if Spotify has 40,000 new songs per day, what's going to make anyone listen to your music? Why is that? So what's going to help is it goes back to the very beginning, that promotion thing, being present, being there. You have to be on all the platforms so that the random guy that you just met, you tell them, look, this is my project, listen to it. he uses Google Music, not any of the others, let's say, and he can find you because your music was uploaded on CD Baby or TuneCore, because they do the distribution on all the platforms anyway. So it's a question of just put it out there, don't put pressure on it, promote it on all the platforms that are possible, and the result will be the result. You give it a certain amount of time, keep reminding people that, oh, this is my new single, this is my new song, this is it. Let it go. Once it's done, go for the next one. Don't dwell. It did what it did. Next one, you know. There's some people who, you know, they release a song and for 1 month they're on that song. Guys, check out my new single. Guys, check out my. If people are checking things every 10,000 pieces of content a day, I guarantee you that within a week they'll be like, they'll be like, sorry, like I don't want to hear the song anymore, you know. So that's kind of how to approach it. And just, I know that in the minds of many people, it's like, oh, I wish I had a manager to do this and that. Today, artists are not just artists. So it's a 360 thing. You're a marketeer, you're a producer, you're a content creator, you're a musician, you're a teacher, you're this, you're that, you're everything. You're more than what artists. So if you had the same skill set today and you traveled 100 years ago, you would be a genius. So it's just the market has changed and things have changed with it, and you have to just adapt to it. Dedicate your time, do like time management. From this time to this time, I'll be working on my music, and that's it. Then I have to cut off. I have to work on something else, my job that makes me money, my whatever. Then go back into it. From this time to this time, you know, just try and do that. Like don't put too much pressure on yourself, because it's there's nothing at stake, to be honest. It's not do or die, you know. Like it's meant to be you know, fulfilling for you. It shouldn't be a weight on your shoulder. Anybody has any stuff? We still have 10 more minutes, and then
yes,
my dog has been looking at me dying to walk for like the past hour, and I feel super bad.
Yeah, Anthony, I've been, so I use this time at home to make an EP, and I'm
cool,
right about done with it, and I want to release sometime in the next month, in June. And so do you have any advice? Like, what should I do? It's like a 4-song EP. Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, what would be great is, knowing that we were mentioning everything about creating content, is for each one create one type of video content, not live, so something related. So if you have the audio tracks that are ready, create. I mean, you can. I say this at any talk I give, when people are like, yeah, we have to do an official video for this song and that, and I'm like, guys, if you spend, I would rather, if you had $4,000, let's say, to spend on a music video, like that, I'm giving an example, I would rather film a cockroach walking for 3 minutes in slow motion and put
it on TikTok
and put $4,000 in promoting that video. Like, I would much rather do that than, you know, because in music, I'm not downgrading the importance of videos and directing or whatever, but at this scale of artists, when there's that many, you know, that all the things that we've spoken about, you have to be able to create visual content. Is super important. So for each one, if you have 4 pieces of video content to release it, that's one. 4 pieces of live content, that's another thing. Another thing would be like, just try and get, and the one thing I personally, I dislike when people tell me, hey man, can you please share my video or share my this and share my that? I'm just like, you know, like, dude, I feel bad, because that's not the way it's going to work, because it means I'm doing it out of the fact that you're my friend, or because I pity you or whatever. That's wrong. Like, if I like it, I'm going to share it. If anyone likes it, like, you can ask your friends, your circle of friends, definitely they'll do that job for you. But when it's people who are going to platforms or whatever, I find it's a bit wrong. But what I would say, so the 4 EPs, 1, get them on all platforms. 2, get them released with some sort of visual content. Doesn't need to be overthought. Seriously, just like, call it whatever you want to call it. Do a little fun video, it can be cool. 3 live videos of each one, because when you're live, that's your power, in my opinion, of what I know of you. Your strength is in your live much more than anywhere else. The minute someone sees you live, it's a hook. So that's one thing. And then the rest is going on all the different, like, try and speak to different platforms, see how you can collaborate. I know, for example, like with me with Deezer, one of the things I'm trying to do is I don't want to get things exclusive on Deezer, because I think it's wrong for the artist to have something exclusively just on this whatever. But, find people who are doing little interviews on Instagram, this and that. I saw you did the one with Alan, for example, and things like that. But like those little things, find many of them and you can find there's so many where you can just find them and be like, can we do a quick interview, this and that? And it doesn't need to be professional stuff. It doesn't need to be anything. It could just be like a series 1 week. This whole week is about promoting my EP. I'm going to do a live with this person and with this person and with this person. And you make sure that when they're writing about it is check out Alan's new EP, whatever, like, different.
So you think 1 week is enough to promote in this time?
Yeah, of course. You have 4 songs. You have to think of it like that.
Yeah.
Just to mention though, I think it takes like up to 4 weeks to release something if you're releasing through CD Baby, for instance, you need to give it 4 weeks, especially at the moment, because there's a saturation of people wanting to release music. So you kind of have to be 4 weeks in advance, but then also that'll give you an opportunity to go on to, I don't know if you've released anything before, but there's, if you've got a Spotify for Artists page, which you can then propose your songs to be playlisted through the Spotify for Artists, and that's dead simple to set up, and there's even an app and you can do your analytics through that. But then also, just to touch on it, and I think it got mentioned, sorry to babble on, we're talking about getting stuff playlisted, and so I've got a friend who his name's Prairie Dog, and he does kind of like, well, he makes like trappy beats, and he spent a lot of time figuring out the best way to get his, and he never releases stuff, but he's got like his catalogue of amazing stuff, and it's very different and off the wall, but he never releases it and puts it out. But then since lockdown, he started to do so, and so he's looked at different ways to release it, and he's found that actually searching something playlist actually using Instagram as a search engine, but searching it as a hashtag, then you can sometimes come across people who are doing that, but then there's people who want you to pay for that. But it's just a matter of searching it. But anyway, giving yourself 4 weeks in advance, just so you don't expect it to come out next week, and it gives you time to prepare as well for the release. Sorry for
I think it's different between one service and another.
Yeah.
Some services do 8 days. You have to upload it 8 days ahead, or like the one I use Ditto Music. It's like a British one.
There you go.
And yeah, they give you 8 days, but you can pay a little extra. They'll put it out on like the major stores like Spotify and Apple Music within 24 hours.
Cool. Looks like we're almost done. Anybody want to say anything, Perla?
I have a quick
I'm
question.
just saying goodbye.
Sorry.
I have a question just for Alain. What's the name of the thing you're using?
Ditto, DITTO. It's Ditto Music. I think they're all kind of the same, but there's tiny little differences in the way, like some have extra services for you. Some recommend you to curators and editors. Some about if they release you faster than others, but at the end they're all the same.
The difference is the percentage they would take after your distribution if you're making revenues, and a lot of them have with what they can own and what they can't own. So read about them before distributing. Be wary of how you're distributing.
True.
Family, you want to go for one last question before we
So, yeah, thanks so much for doing this, and it's really great, seeing everyone, hearing from everyone, and getting to meet a lot of new people. Hopefully we'll stay in touch. Let's stay in touch for sure. My quick question is, one part of the distribution is, say, using TuneCore or whatever it is, and then that gets you to platforms. But the problem that I find happens after that is you have no way of actually promoting the music other than social media. But there's blogs, radios, things like that. How do you get on those things? And
I
what
can answer that.
Yeah, go, Alan.
There are services online like Submit Hub, if you've heard of it.
Yeah,
it works through credits. So you submit songs, and I mean, it's a paid service, but you get a free service, but it's a little bit, you pay a little extra, and they send it to either playlist curators for Spotify or bloggers, YouTube personalities, so they can use maybe your songs as their theme song, or even radio stations and all that. That's one of them. I don't know if there's another way. Maybe Anthony can.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways. I mean, there's what they call PR agents, who are the ones who do that, but that's a paid thing. But other than that, I mean, if you put a wish list of 100 blogs that you like, and they don't need to be massive, they just need to be blogs. Just put 100, and if you reach out to them, they need content. Every blog needs content, so they're going to be the ones. And yeah, what Dana is saying, reach out via LinkedIn. I've used LinkedIn a lot recently, and LinkedIn has been amazing for work and for everything. So LinkedIn is also another one like TikTok that's still organic. So
I second LinkedIn too, especially for like as a business kind of side to your artistry.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna wrap up. I'm just gonna ask you all to put like say bye. So I'm gonna take a cool snapshot of this if you want. I just want to put something cool, like post about it. So see you guys. It was nice to meet you all, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you, Anthony, for this.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you all. Anthony, this was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Ciao. Ciao.